Okay, good morning, students. We're looking today at another CXE past paper. This one is May-June 2021. So just about a year ago, that particular paper. This one is fairly simple, easy, not much programming, not much complex calculations in spreadsheets and so on. So let's get into it. Shouldn't take us that long, all right? So regularly, CXE past papers for IT are 2 hours, the paper twos. And the same protocol follows for all the papers. 4 questions, of course, each question has quite a few letters, maybe up to 8 some questions or so, from A down to E, F, maybe even G, and even subsections and all that. So don't let the 4 questions fool you. All right, let's get into this now. The term computer vulnerability, define the term. The term really refers to a computer that is somewhat laxed in its security measures. Laxed meaning is not fully protected. So a computer that's not fully protected, or there are loopholes in the security system, or maybe none at all. So it is, as the term says, vulnerable. It is open for attack. All right, so this is what computer vulnerability means. You're vulnerable to attack. You're open for attack, almost inviting, a hacker or someone trying to attack. There's no real defense, or even if there's some defense, there's very little. So our computer vulnerability basically means a computer with no security or very limited security, it's open for attack. Because sometimes even if you have the best security, you can still be attacked, and successfully too. All right? Okay. Complete the table below by classifying each of the following vulnerabilities as internal source or external source. Source, keyword. All right. Natural disasters such as floods, hurricanes, and earthquakes, those are all external. We don't have any control of those. All right. Employees erroneously erasing data. All right. So that is something that persons can train, or you can have certain preventative measures to block that, or so on. So that is all internal. You're running an organization, you can stop or limit those erroneous actions of overwriting data. All right. Lack of antivirus software to scan email attachments. Simple. Acquire one. Don't download one for free, because many times the ones that you see advertised for free, they are actually the problem. They are viruses or spyware. All right. Just as how you wouldn't get a security company to guard your business or your house for free, why would you do that? Knowing that your computer is access and gateway to your most important and confidential information, between videos and images to bank account and credit card information, transaction with the government, your whole business. You would hire a security company or get one for free. So likewise, your antivirus shouldn't be for free. Get a robust, good antivirus, check it out, check the reviews on their site and other sites, and get a good antivirus. Damage to hardware and software from electrical power surges and spikes. This one a little bit tricky in some regards, but the fact that it is electrical power surges coming from somewhere else, not from you per se, coming from JPS or your light and power company, that is external. But it still could be argued to be internal somewhat, because the source is external, but the truth is you can get surge protectors, line conditioners, and so on to protect the system, which is internal. All right, so the source of it is external. Just like our virus is external, but the point is you can buy an antivirus that makes it internal. You can block that. All right, lack of antivirus software. So the source for hardware and software being damaged from electrical surges, yes, it is external, but one can argue internal as well. All right, let's move on. And it's just 2 marks. I guess half a mark per point. Yeah. All right, computer users can be the greatest threat to a computer's computer security. State 2 examples of strategies used to mitigate threats from users. You can use passwords to prevent them from getting access to certain confidential information. You're working in an organization, not everybody needs to know the manager's salary, or managers, even supervisors. All right. Next thing is that you might want to have biometric systems. Certain processes just don't belong some places, where there's sensitive hardware like servers and mainframes and so on. Only the tech people and maybe ancillary staff who help in the cleaning or keeping the environment clean. All right. So those are two measures you can use right away. You can use encryption. You can use biometrics, as I suggest. You can use also certain policies on a network restricting access to certain files or the time that someone has access, or be able to how much quota on printing. You can print more than a certain volume of paper per day. All of those are security measures you can employ. All right? Okay. Distinguish between the terms computer security and cybersecurity. Computer security really refers to the security, securing a standalone machine. It's hardware included. Can run away with a mouse, a keyboard, a monitor, a printer, stuff like that. Cybersecurity really refers to online, hackers, viruses, anything that comes from a network point of view, right? So there are different differences between cybersecurity and computer security. Computer security, standalone machine. You can't steal it, you can't run away with it. And not only that, remember laptops too. You can just fold it up, put it in a bag and gone. All right? You're talking about as well as Kensington locks. All right? So cybersecurity really refers to anything that's coming from the pipeline and network, especially the internet. Question E. Criminals acquire credit and debit card details from unsuspecting people and use this information to make fraudulent purchases and cash transactions. State the term used to describe the scenario above. That is what you call now, right? You guessed it, right? Identity theft. All right, everybody knows that one. Stolen identity theft. Persons going online, buying stuff, pretending to be you with your information. All right. Outline two appropriate methods which can be used to prevent the scenario above. Yes, again, there's two-stage approach to using a credit card and so on. One major one is that if your credit card is set up properly, most banks will send you an email or text message or something like that alerting you right away when a transaction occurs on a credit card. So you can call them right away and the transaction can be stopped before it's confirmed or before it actually goes through, or it can be reversed. Another thing you can do is make sure your credit card information, credit card statements, and all of those banking information and so on, they are properly and securely stored away. And if you're throwing away those papers, burn them or shred them, preferably burn. Don't let them throw them in the bin like that. All right. Education too is key. Becoming knowledgeable about your rights, privileges, and so on, and banking policies regarding a credit card would also be good. The following database table contact shows the records for several individuals registered at a university. Including the code, the degree being pursued for each person. All right. So here is your contacts table. All right. You have all of these persons here, about 14 records. And it looks like it appears about 7 or 8 fields. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 fields. And 14 records. Describe the steps needed to manually add a new record to the existing database table contacts. For this to occur, simply move the cursor to the end of the last record, which is somewhere out at this side, all right, in the degree code area. Press enter and then type in the next record, all right? While adding a new record to a table, data is entered in a particular field, and the dialog window pops up indicating that the entered data is invalid. State the reason for the dialog box popping up. You could add some verification issues here. Maybe it's not within a certain range, or you're entering data that is text in a numbers field, or vice versa, entering the wrong data type. That is what could happen. Possible reasons. Outline how the error identified in F2 will be fixed. Simply enter the data in the correct range or of the right data type or even of the right format. Because sometimes you're entering data month, day, year, or day, month, year. And while sometimes it would pick it up, because if the month being referred to is not December, all right, so like between, let us say, the 1st is January to December 12th. If you go 13 or 14, the computer will pick that up. Oh, you're referring to the day, not the month. But if you're entering, for example, the 5th the 5th of September. That's 5 of September the 9th. This year, 2022. But a computer may read that as the 9th of May, as opposed to the 5th of September. So you can see how those can create problems, depending on day, month, year, or month, day, year. Principles of entering data. All right? The steps below, not in correct order, are required to run a simple query on the contacts table to extract all records where the gender is male and the degree code is 020. Complete the following table by inserting the numbers 1 to 6 in the column labeled step number to order the given steps. So over here, we'll enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, based upon the sequencing as you see it. So we'll read through these and realize that, guess what? The first step is from the Create tab. No, that's not the first step. From the Design View. From the Create tab, locate the Queries group. All right, so this one is number 1. So we'll put number 1 here, right? That's number 1. So from the Create tab, locate the Queries group. All right, then the next one is, so let me look and see. From the, yeah, so this one is number 2. Select Query Design. That is step number 2. Select Query Design. And then from the Query Design view, select the contacts table. This number 3 step, that's step number 3. All right. And from the Query Design view, select the contacts table. Click Add and click Close. Right. And then step number 4 is this one. Double click the field names. That's step number 4. All right. Double click the field names you want to use to run the query. And then now this step here, by in the criteria row putting M under the gender, and in the degree code area put 020. These two can occur interchangeably. It doesn't matter which one you do first. So 5 and 6, take your pick. All right, it doesn't matter which one you do first, and then run the query. That is how the query will be run, and that's 4 marks. They say identify the records that will be extracted from the table contacts after running the query above. So we go through and we look only for the males, which have a degree code of 020. So Roy Clark, male, but not 020. All right, go again. Tyson Lenny, male, but not 020. Sharish Baptiste, male, but 030, not 020. Go again. Smith Jones, he's a male and degree code is 020. So Smith Jones would show up because he's a male and his degree code is 020. And then there's another male down here, Brian Joseph, male, whose degree code is 020 as well. So Smith Jones and Brian Joseph, those two would show up in the query. All right. And let us continue to satisfy that condition. Yes. So question number 2 now in the query. Christopher is contemplating using cloud-based storage. To assist Christopher with his decision-making, complete column 2 of the table below by stating true or false for each of the statements about cloud-based storage made in column 1. All right, so true and false. Yeah, so we can even if we don't know, we can guess, right? Leave nothing unanswered here. 4 marks. All right, 4 marks for 6 items. Whoa. 6, you're really getting stingy on the marks. Users can access their data whether they have internet access or no. No, that can't work. You have to have internet access. So that statement is false. You can't access their data. So users can access their data whether they have internet access, whether they have access to the internet or not. False. Data is stored on multiple computers all over the world. That is true. All right. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram and Gmail are all cloud-based storage. True. Yes. Users know exactly where their data is stored. No. False. You don't know exactly where it is stored. You know electronically where it is stored. As I said, Google, Gmail, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and so on. You know electronically where it's stored, but not geographically. All right. The cloud is an unlimited and powerful remote network of interconnected computers. Yes, powerful. Yes, remote. Yes, interconnected, but not unlimited. No resource is unlimited, right? So that makes it false. Cloud-based storage providers give free storage up to a certain limit. Usually that's true, all right? Outline, the main difference between system software and application software. Application software, the main difference is application is used by the user, used by end users, while system software is generally operates of itself, run by the computer, right? The computer, it really runs the computer, I should say. The system software is used, well, it runs itself. System software, operating system, or a platform like Linux, iOS, Android, Windows, all of those, DOS, they are not used by the user. But application software, those have to be used by the user. State one example of a hardware device with a user interface, such as a touch screen. All right, hardware, that is a user interface, touchscreen devices. 4 basic tasks are carried out by the hardware components of a computer system. State the name given to the sequence of events that represents these tasks. Is it because I put sequence of events here, so? And I say name, we're going to state them as we know them. Input, process, output, storage. Not IPOS. Yes, that is the term, but they ask for the name. And since they suggest or imply the infer sequence, let's put them in the correct order now. Input, process, output, store. All right. But that you can argue the sequence too, that it actually occurs in that way. Not a problem, but that's the way it is given to us in the text. So the Ms. Glenda Gay, chief examiner, sitting the exam, let's work with what she says. All right. Classify each of the following data entry devices as either manual data entry or direct data entry. Manual stating that you have to direct the device to enter the data. All right. As opposed to simply put the media in and it will extract the data itself. So a mouse, you have to direct, like I'm directing my mouse now to click on various things. Optical character reader, put the media in. So mouse is a direct data entry. Sorry. Mouse is a manual data entry. Optical character readers, because you put the media in and it extracts the data, that's direct data entry. All right, a light pen, you're controlling it and directing it, that is manual data entry. A sensor picks up whether pressure, temperature, speed, any such thing like that, light, and sends a signal to a computer to do something, whether turn the light on or turn on the fan in the car so it doesn't really, on the radiator so it doesn't overheat, or keep beeping as long as there's some pressure in the seat of your vehicle, beeping to put on the seat belt, pressure sensor, or a motion sensor, somebody passed by a particular area, so a light comes on or alarm sets off. Those are direct data entry. All right, sensors usually are. All right, F. Using our processor, a graphic artist designed the following flyer to email to potential clients. He or she also plans to distribute hard copies for advertising purposes. All right. So here's what we have, a flyer or a poster. You can have a look at it and so set up so we can just run through these questions now. State the name of the feature used to create a connection between the flyer and the company's website. It's the company's website and it's called a hyperlink. When you click on it, it's will take you to that particular location. All right. So that is how that works. All right. The connection between the flyer and the company's website is to be tested before the flyer is distributed. State the reason for having to do this. You want to make sure that the hyperlink actually works and takes you to the right location. Not to say that there's a broken link or the website is no longer available or any of those errors. Okay. Identify 2 text formatting features used in the design of the first column of the flyer on page 10. So the first column over here, we can say 2 text formatting features. There's a superscript right here, right at the feet squared, superscript. All right, this page is centered, this column is centered, the font is red, and the font is also larger. It could even be word art, who knows? All right, so those are several, not just 2. All right. Let me see. All right. Identify two page formatting features used in the design of the flyer. Two page formatting features, the whole page. This appears to be in landscape, and there are two columns. All right, column over here, column over here. So those are two page formatting features. All right. The graphic artist would like to amend the Word document he created in order to produce a new flyer, but would like to keep a copy of the original document. Describe how he could create the updated document. All right. He could simply go File, save as another name, and continue to work. So the original document will be there. Suppose he named one real estate. So the original document was real estate. But then the second one he called townhouses. So you could have two documents now, one called townhouses and the original one called real estate. All right. And then he will modify whichever one he wishes. All right. Name one word processing feature that would allow you to protect your document while you're working on it. To be saved, could use save or auto save or so on. And one feature would protect the document, the final document. You could password it. You could encrypt it on somewhere. You could hide the file and so on. Those are options that are available to you to protect it after you have finished your task. All right. Question number 3. Kimarki Care Home is an educational institution. Each year, the curriculum is updated to ensure full spectrum coverage. This year, the master timetable will be made available via the school's virtual learning platform, as to be arranged to include physical and virtual delivery modes, with tutors based locally and overseas. Identify the type of network that will be more suitable for ensuring connectivity between a physical computer in two different locations as well as the online classroom. All right. So it says connectivity between a physical computer. So you're talking about setting up a local area network. Could be partially wireless or fully wireless, doesn't matter. But a local area network, and of course you'd have to have the internet, seeing that you're going to have online classrooms as well. All right. Complete the table by stating whether the listed transmission medium items are wired or wireless. Twisted pair, wired. All right. Infrared, wireless. You normally use those with remotes and so on. That's where you point on a device and press a button. And that's normally infrared technology. Coaxial, yes, that's wired. Microwave, that is wireless. Cool. The following spreadsheet is part of a master timetable issued for the institution for the September 2021 academic year. All right, let's get into this now. The administration of this institution would like to be able to easily view the days when most students are engaged. List the steps to be taken in order to create a graphical representation of this information. Graphical representation means creating graphs, charts. So you want some information representing this? Highlight from D1, which is the days here, all the way over to E11. So you'd highlight basically all this data set here. All right, that's what you'd highlight. Or block or select, whichever one you want to call it. Using the information on page 12. Write the function or the formula to calculate the average number of students in a class. The average number of students in a class. This is the formula or a function. No, I don't want to use a spreadsheet. Let me use a Word document. So let me give you both. All right, and I'll make this font a little bit larger so we can see clearly. All right, so here's the function. Equal average, open bracket, and if I remember correctly, this is what? E what? E2 to E11. So it's from E2 colon E11, close bracket. So that would be the function. The formula would be equal E2 plus E3 plus E4 plus, E4 plus E5 plus E6 plus E7 plus E8 plus E9 plus E10 plus E11. And then we would divide all of this, divide it by a base of about 10. So open the bracket here. So up here is the formula. This is the formula. And then this is the function. All right, the corresponding function. All right, cool. All right. Create the formula in cell F2 that would output yes if the class is over 30 students, or no if it is not. So the formula in F2, all right, so that formula would read something like this. Go here, putting all the formulas here so you can see them. Equal if, open brackets, F2, hold on, E2 is greater than 30. Let me make sure I have this right. Don't want to miss anything. All right, so E2, right? Cool. So if E2 is greater than 30, comma, put yes. Otherwise, put no. We put the no in quotation marks because we want the no to be outputted exactly as it is there between the quotation marks. Remember, an if function, normal simple if function really has three statements. You normally call the equal sign, set the equal sign to say that you want to do a calculation. If the type of calculation you want to do, and then the first part of the if function is the test. What are you evaluating? And if you notice, normally use signs like greater than, less than, equal to, not equal to. Those are the main operators. Less than, equal to, greater than, equal to. All right? So you normally get an answer, response of a Boolean answer, response, Boolean operation, yes or no, true or false, right and wrong, on and off, right. Says yes or no. Is the number in E2 greater than 30? If it's greater than 30, you get the response. 45 is greater than 30, so you get the response of yes. If it's not greater than 30, the response would be no. So that is what happens there. All right, and let us move on to the next question. All right, is that finished? No, I have another question. Identify the steps to be followed to copy the formula in cell F2 to the range of cells from F3 to F11. What you normally do, let me open a spreadsheet. This works no matter which column or which cell you're in. Let me come over here, for argument's sake, or even here. Let's type in, let's say me. All right. You can point on the fill handle right here and pull downward. It would automatically replicate the formula for you to fill in all the other answers, all the other responses. All right, that's how you do it. All right, so once the fill handle is used, it will autofill all the other areas. All right, let's continue. Any other question? Yes. Consider the following times table algorithm. Set the value to 7. Write number, comma, product. So we're going to display number and product. For number equals 0 to 12, do. So we're counting from 0. So actually it's 13 times this is going to go through. So 0, then 1 to 12. Cool. Product becomes number times value. So 0 times 7 would be 0. Then you write the number, whichever number you use, which in the first instance will be 0. The next time will be 1, then will be 2, then will be 3. And then that particular number over here times 7. So this first will be 0 times 7, 0. Then the number becomes 1. It's a 0 to 12. So number becomes 1 times 12 times 7, sorry. That would be 7. Then number becomes 2 because we're counting up from 0. So 2 times 7. So 2 times 7 would be 14. Then number loops again becomes 3. Then 3 times 7 becomes 21. So it'll be outputting 0 up to 12 over on this side, and then we're multiplying it by 7 all the way through. So 7 will be the same thing right throughout. Constant doesn't move, and then it will be 0 times 7 and so forth as we go through. All right. So state the names of the variable and the constants. Name of the variables are, you have number and you have product. Those are the two variables. The constant would be value because value doesn't change for the program. As you can see, there's nowhere where you see value equal or becomes anything else. All right. State the type of construct that is being used. It's a for loop. That's what it's being used, a for loop. And what else now? Okay. Going back to Word. Draw the flowchart symbol for each of the following. For a number becomes 0 to 12. There's one thing that we say about a for loop. A for loop automatically initializes and increments itself. Initializing because it tells you where to start and it tells you where to end. So for, in this case, number equal 0 to 12. So start off at 0, end at 12. So you don't have to tell it to add 1 each time. It's for that reason we say a for loop automatically increments itself because it adds 1 itself. So this is what you'd use for that loop. You'd actually use a rectangle. All right? No fill. All right? And then next now, let me move this back here. Okay. I'm looking with a complication with that cursor, but no problem. Right. So the fact that we say right means we want to display something. So since we want to display, we have to use a parallelogram to display. So insert another shape and a parallelogram. Let me find a parallelogram. Here's a parallelogram. So this is the shape that we'll use for input and output statements. All right. No fill. So parallelogram for input and output, and a rectangle for adding, for calculating each time. Because a for loop will automatically add 1 to itself each time. All right. So let us continue. Not add 1 to itself, but add 1 to the variable that's going to traverse the loop. All right. Now complete the trace table for the following algorithm on page 14. This we know because we're alluding to it before. Page 14 is this. Product is going to be equal to number times value. So the first thing you need to know about a trace table or remember about a trace table is that you always use the name of the variables exactly as spelled in the program or algorithm as the column headings. So number is 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. And value is always 7. So the product is derived by multiplying the number times the value. So 1 times 7 is 7. 2 times 7 is 14. 3 times 7 is 21. And 4 times 7 is 28. And that is finished. All right, that ends another question. All right. Now here's where we are now. Last question. And the value, the following fragment of code is part of a larger algorithm written to calculate the average of two numbers. All right, line number, and we have 7 lines. Selection 1, selection 2, they're set as integer. Average is set as string. All right, that should send your head ringing right there all ago. Average set as string, yeah, alarms need to be going off in your head right there. Selection 1 is set to 0. Selection 2 is initialized to 0. Both selections are initialized to 0. Average is going to be equal to selection plus selection 2 minus 5. Notice the word average here. Input the average is product. All right, list 5 errors that would prevent the proper execution of the algorithm above. Number 1 error, string here. That shouldn't be string. It should be set to real because once you're dividing, you more than likely will significantly have the chance of a decimal number, a floating point. So it should be set to real. Average here is fine, but selection, it should be selection 1. There's no variable called selection. So this is an unknown variable to the computer. plus selection 2, that's fine. The bracket is fine. But the second error, or the third error I should say, there should be a divide here, not a minus sign. So 1 string should be real. 2 should be a number 1 here. 3, it should be a divide sign, a forward slash, and it should not be 5. It should be dividing by 2. So that's 4. All right? Divide sign, which is a forward slash, and it should be 2. As well as the number 1 should be here, and it should be real, not string. All right? And instead of having input, it should be show or display or write or print. Any one of those terms will work just fine. And then the last one, product, shouldn't be there. It should be average. This too is an unknown variable. Product should be average. All right. Write an algorithm that will find the average of 3 numbers. Let me use the one above since we're using that one. All right. All right. You know what? Let me just bring this down as well. All right. So, no, the word selection are too long. So let me set this up. Set num, even shorter, x, y, z as integers. As integer. All right. Set average, avg, make it short, to real. All right. And avg is going to be equal to x plus y plus z divided by 3. And I'll say print, oh, print avg, and I'm done. My program is done. All right. So that is a short program. All right. Write an algorithm that will, maybe I should put start and stop there, just to make sure I don't annoy anybody by saying, you know, you didn't put start and stop. Start, stop. So that is the algorithm. All right. Okay, let's continue on. And let me see, how much marks do we get for that? No. Oh, that part wasn't displayed. Lord. So we get 5 marks for the correcting those, and I don't remember how much. We can find that out still, not a problem. All at a data science laboratory, the data scientists and data engineers are required to process millions of data every second to predict weather patterns and abnormalities. This data is then sent to all employees of our network using a server. State the type of computer system which is required for the following purposes. Processing of scientific data, supercomputer. Huge number crunching machines, do huge amount of calculations very quickly. Measured its speeds, not in gigahertz and megahertz and so on that we are used to, but in flops, as in floating point operations per second. All right? Distribution of data over a network, a server or a mainframe. Working from home, PC, right? That be a laptop or desktop computer. Similar to what we're looking at below, this is a desktop machine. All right. Now let us examine this question carefully. All right. Identify the function of each of the labeled columns A to E as one of the following: input, systems unit, storage, output. All right. Each function may be used more than once. A is output. All right. B is system unit. C looks like a CD, so that's storage. D is a mouse, that's putting data in, that's input. Keyboard is also typing data in, which is E, that's also input. So that's done. I mean, that shouldn't give anybody any problems at all. And then we are going to the last question, 25 total marks. State one device that may be found on a computer monitor that is used for video conferencing. Give one reason for your answer. I'd say a camera. Usually put cameras on monitors so capture our images to show to someone at the opposite end. All right, that is one device. It could be that an examiner is going to be cheeky and say the screen, but the screen is not a device, it's a part of the monitor. Because the screen allows you to see what the other person is doing. So I would say the screen is a device. So I'd say the camera is a device. But in case somebody is thinking, he has a screen as well. But the screen is not a device of itself. It is a part of the monitor. And the question says, state one device that may be found on a monitor that is used for video conferencing. Found usually at the top of a monitor or even the top of a laptop area. There's a little bezel or area there with a camera projecting from it that you can use, all right, to have video conferencing and so on. So that ends that paper, and as you can see, guys, it barely took a little over half an hour. So it is not difficult to finish an IT CXC paper 2 in 2 hours. It's rather easy once you prepare yourself. Well, this year was an easy paper, last year paper. I hope this one is just as easy. And if you notice, they give a little bit of flowcharts. Expect flowcharts to come on this exam, where you might have to draw a flowchart. All right? Okay, guys. Have a good one. Take care of yourselves. Oh, yeah. And while we're at it, remember, it is best to start your exams from the back. Not just for IT, but for math and other subjects. Because the weightier questions come toward the end of the exam. So if you are running out of time and you leave 2 or 3 questions unanswered, you may lose 20, 30 marks. But if you start from the back and you leave even 3 or 4 unanswered, you may lose 4, 5, 8, maybe 10 marks at most, depending. So guys, when you're doing an exam, start with the questions that value the most marks first. Do those questions first. All right, guys, have a good one. Take care.